Hi guys. All right, so I'm going to give a real easy tip, okay, for manifestation that perhaps you are not paying attention to, and I would like for you guys to start using it so you can understand this, okay? So about 2 years ago, I went to Kansas City and I met women of the future. The teacher was from the Pleiades. And everyone that was there in the tribe was from different points in time, and I knew them all. In fact, some I met in Lemuria, some I met in Atlantis. Some of these ladies I knew from other planets. I myself happened to be part of the Arcturian-Sirian connection. So I'm saying all this because, I really don't give a fuck what you think about me, and whether you believe me or not. That's not the point. The point is that I bring technology and I help share it and I bridge divides that don't exist. So I can help in ways that you guys are not taking advantage of. Okay? And one of the things that I learned, perhaps the most valuable thing that I learned from this experience is this. Notice what is out of place. That is the most important trick you will have in your arsenal. Are you listening? Notice what is out of place. Okay? We have an old paradigm, a collective belief that time is out of our control, that time is not instant. Okay? Just think about the sayings. Just think about the sayings for a minute. You say, things don't happen overnight. Everything has its appointed hour. When I was Neville Goddard in that time frame and you guys were there, that's what I had to teach you because that was the paradigm. That is in fact the old paradigm and not the new one, okay? The new one has ascended. The Lion's Gate has opened. There is new technology available to you all. And the truth is we live in an instant world now. And for those of you who have not realized this, it is only because you have not realized the subtle changes that are happening in your world. So let me explain. Your brain registers your desire right away. As soon as you feel it, it is granted. You can have it. If you're able to collapse your timeline in that sense, know that whatever you're viewing, the opposite is also true. And if you can acknowledge the opposite as being real, your brain will give it to you. However, your brain's not going to shock you right away. It would be too much of a shock to your system, okay? So you must notice what is out of place so that you can see, so that you can tell your brain that's sitting in absolute darkness. It's sitting in your skull. It cannot see without your eyes. It cannot see without your word. It cannot see without your hearing, touch, sense. It doesn't see. It's completely dependent on you to tell it what is. So when you start treating the little things, the little nuances that are out of place like a big deal, okay, and you start noticing it, you can say, oh, this means I just entered my new paradigm. Ooh, that's out of place. That means I just entered my new paradigm. You can say whatever you want, so long as you believe it. And if you use these 3D components in your favor and are present to that technology, you will literally enter the new paradigm instantly. But it is your job to notice what's out of place and treat it like it's a big deal. Treat it like it's a big deal, okay? It's twofold, and I will explain the reason why you want to do this. If you treat the little things with the excitement of a child and you treat it like it is a big freaking deal, you confuse your brain's conception over what's a big deal and what's not. You're confusing it. Because if you find a penny on the ground or suddenly you see a car that's never been there before and you just like, oh my gosh, there's a car that's never been there before. And it's a tiny little thing, but you treat it like it's a big thing. Here's what you do to your brain. your brain will no longer treat the big things as if they're big things, and the big things will slip in as if they're little things. It's a mind hack. You want to biohack your reality. So if you learn to trick your brain will give you what you want. This is biblical. So I'm not saying anything that isn't always true no matter what dimension you're on. Okay? So it's really, really, really important to treat the tiniest little nuance like it's a big deal. Because I promise you, and this is what I teach people that I work with, the big things sneak in. And so as an example, and you guys have heard this, a friend of mine in Germany, she's super cool. She creates everything like crazy, body transformations, cars, I mean, insane, all the little things, right? So we started working on this. She said, Cindy, I have lived in Germany all my life. You are not going to believe this. I said, what? She's like, there's a river where there's never been a river before. Oh my God. I'm definitely in a new paradigm. See? It snuck in there. It snuck in there. Just like my aunt being alive into a new reality. That's huge. My brain didn't treat it like it was because I'm treating the little things like it is a big thing. This will help you realize that you're jumping from dimension to dimension to dimension to dimension. That the perception of time that you have is made in your mind and your mind alone. So when you can see these things, you will notice the big things. So for example, for me, one of the things that occurred is I was in a hurry to get back across the lake. I had gone on a little paddle boat. And the reason I was in a hurry is because once the sun comes down, the mosquitoes eat you alive. And so I was trying to hurry to get across that lake. And so I looked down at my feet and I started paddling as fast as I could. But it took me at least a half an hour to get to the point in the lake that I was. At least a half an hour, right? But I was paddling my feet and I got distracted, and all I could think about while I'm paddling is I gotta hurry before these mosquitoes eat me alive because they love me. Fuck! Right? And suddenly I look up and I was in front of the house where I needed to be, and literally I teleported. Okay? And it took me a minute to explain it, and I realized what you are doing. That is a shock to our system. That is the reason that you must notice what little things are out of place so that you don't fall back into the old state, because change can happen instantly if you understand this. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible because everything I can do, you guys can do, and so much better. Okay? So if you get this, you'll understand. Treat everything out of place, because your brain, what it does is it uses the existing train tracks, rearranges it, changes just a little thing so it won't shock you, and then you start entering this new state. So if you start telling your brain, that's new, that's new, that's new, that's new, you'll start moving towards your desire, because you're really not moving at all. You're moving in mind, and then your mind reproduces it. This is how it works. We just haven't been aware of that. And I need you to know that. And what you're fighting against collectively is the collective belief that change is an instant. But let me stand up for God right now, and let me explain something to you guys. God's time is now. There's only now. Okay? Just like it says in the book Happy Pocket Full of Money, I can't do something yesterday right now, and I can't do something tomorrow right now. But yesterday's now was in the now, just like tomorrow's now will be that now moment, meaning that we are the ones that are relating our experiences to create the illusion of time. The only reason that you will ever have distance between you and a lover is really, really simple. You're focusing on the on the fact that you think he's outside of you. That's why. Or she is outside of you. So you're pining away and you're upholding the construct that you came to fix. That's the only reason you have a distance. Because the truth is, you have conversations internally and they pick up on them mentally. You are here to know that the opposite of what you believe is also true. If what you are telling yourself is causing you pain, if you feel emotionally hurt by what you believe to be true, okay, you listening? This is a misuse of your power. Your heart is letting you know that's not how we're supposed to think about this, baby. That's why this hurts. We're supposed to correct this part of our story so our heart registers pain to let you know you are creating away from your desire, not towards, by upholding what you think is real. But you have to understand, the outer world is literally a carcass that is dependent on your story, and that invisible mind power of your spirit, that mind light, what you think is what is outside. I always like to think of people as walking thought bubbles and living memories, but all illusions of me. This way, nothing is ever lost. Everything returns home. This is an understanding that I've developed simply by being who I am. By talking to you guys and being like, oh, look, we're each other. Look, we're each other. I do this for everyone because I want you to know that this is true on all levels, for yourself, for your SP, for your children, for your mother, for your father, for everything is you. Bodies and illusions of you. If you can accept that as the norm, if you can realize you are the constant, this creates a force like no other. And you guys know what that force is because it's that attraction that wakes you up, that brings you to your knees, that makes you be interested in someone else. That's the force. Okay? In truth, when we think we have fallen in love with someone, we've actually only fallen for our own radiance. Okay? I read a story. I'm recommending this book to all ladies. Okay, I keep saying it over and over again. The reason I keep saying this book is a must read right now, drop everything you're doing and read it, is because in reading it, again, my story on display, okay? But one of the things that she said was really cute and I thought really helpful for everybody who's on the SP journey. So I'll share it with you. When you decide to read the book, great. If you don't read it, great. But you shouldn't ignore this call, okay? Because it's the goddess call, all right? And it's a story about Biff and a young lady. And they're these little kids that grew up together. They played together. They had fun. They always, it's like, yes, they knew they were the opposite sex, but they were children, so they never saw each other that way. And one day, they're walking together, and suddenly she notices Biff has muscles. Biff has height. When did he get so hot? Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just notices it, right? All right. So she notices this, and he does too. He notices the same thing in her. So he kisses her. Oh my goodness, it's her first kiss. It's the most crazy feeling. Butterflies and everything. She can't believe the way she feels. She's floating on air. Do you know that feeling? Okay. What she's actually registering is her own radiance that she's just tapped into. Here's where we go wrong. So now she cannot believe how she feels. She starts writing down all, Biff and Cindy, I'm just giving you an example, I don't even remember the character's name, are getting married. Biff this, Biff that. So she shows up at his practice. She can't, Biff, hi. And he's looking at her and he doesn't know what the hell's wrong with his friend. She was so cool. She's been his friend forever and now she's acting crazy. She's acting crazy because she's in love with her own radiance, and he activated it. You have to remember the Princess of Kashi's story and the story of Narcissus, the Greek god who fell in love with his own image and died there because he didn't realize he was staring at himself, or the Princess of Kashi, the young man who as a child dressed like a princess because there was no female actor. They put the picture away for a long time. He sees it years later and decides that this is the love of his life. He's so enamored with her because he has no idea it's him dressed up as a little girl. He just figures when she must be his age. So again, he has fallen in love with his own radiance. Pay attention to the power of these myths. They're trying to tell you you are what you seek. When you understand this, there is no force on earth that can keep them away. And the reason that if you get upset over your story, yes, allow yourself to process these emotions. They're very necessary, okay? Dear Goddess, the reason that you are rupturing is because you have to discover who you are. So the rupture, the pain, the misalignment is because you are designed to be the light in the darkness. You are most definitely designed to be that always. So if you feel these things, feel them. Feel them. You know what? In the book, again, I'm going to recommend it at the end, but in the book, another thing that they did was something called swamping. And what she did was her lover had died. And he was the most amazing thing in the world. Like, just absolutely the most amazing person. And so she was destroyed. Okay, absolutely destroyed, and she felt like shit, and so she honored it. She took out a trash bag, she put it on as if it was a dress, she raged, she screamed, she yelled, and she processed those emotions. She honored them and suddenly felt better. That's what we do. We honor our emotions. But what happens is you emerge a stronger, more willful, more determined person. So if there's one thing that I can teach you is do not give up on your desire. Know your desire is of God. You, creatrix or creator, already have it. Your job is simply to persist in your story and notice what little things are out of place so that you can enter your desired state. You keep using the 3D components that are in front of you to be present to what is, so you're not bypassing reality. In every single moment, you will start walking and entering the state because you are the veil. I've explained that before. 3D is made up of everything you don't want and everything you do want, and you are in the middle. Your job is to be at balance, at peace, and convert what you don't want into something you do want, because as creator, you are the potter. You are deciding what the 3D material is going to be. This is biblical. Since the beginning of time, Adam, which represents mankind, was given the ability to name everything in Eden. What that means is that no matter what you see in 3D, you are the one deciding its meaning. Just because you have a conditioned way of being, conditioned way of thinking, does not mean it is the only meaning available to you. When you realize this, what's in front of your face can mean anything. You don't have to accept what your voice is used to saying. It can mean something else. Change will be instant. But you have to understand this power. And it takes time. Because, I stand here and I'm trying to tell you, your enlightenment's in the attic. Your enlightenment's in the attic. And that's great. You know that it's in the attic. But until you use your ladder of experience to get to said attic, you can't understand me from experience. And that's something that I can't do for you. You have to apply it in order to do it, in order to see it. I can give you the clues and the shortcuts, but you have to apply it. When you apply it, it becomes your experience. Now it's no longer hearsay. Now it's not wishful thinking. It's your proof and evidence that this is how this works. Okay? So I understand we have a conditioned way of thinking. We're going to run out of time. It's only linear. All of these things. Because if you're my age or anywhere around my age and you attended school, this is what you were taught. Okay? But take advantage of the fact that time is relative. You are its creator. All time and space illusions are based on your own resistance. Your own resistance to what is there. If you can eliminate the resistance, your time gap between manifestations will shorten. This is a shortcut. Work with your resistance over what you don't. If it doesn't feel natural, that's a resistance. Okay? And the last thing I'm going to tell you, please make it feel real to your brain. If it doesn't feel real to your brain, you can't have it. So please practice your heart-brain coherence. Practice aligning your crown chakra to your heart chakra. Close your eyes, relax, and practice getting lost in that feeling. Make it feel real to your mind. That's why you close your eyes and you fast. This is how your brain reproduces the results instantly. And you guys have had proof of this, and you guys will continue to have proof of this. And really the only thing that you guys are going to learn how to do is realize that realization is manifestation. That this is what you've been doing your whole life. We're just going to realize that what's unconscious is now going to be conscious. But please be patient with yourself, because being unconscious of something is the equivalent of being in a coma, okay? And someone who's been in a coma for years doesn't walk overnight. They need time to reconnect all these little wires in order to get them to walk. So be patient with yourself, honor your emotions, and then go back to remembering that your desire was already given. Notice what's different and out of place. Even if it's the tiniest of tiniest things, a butterfly, a car, I don't care. Celebrate it like it's a big deal. Childlike enthusiasm, okay? Because I promise you, the big manifestations or the little manifestations is your definition of that. Because everything is made of the same mind-light substance. So whether you want to cure cancer, or you want a button, or you want $1 million, or you want a specific man or a specific woman, it's your concept that it is difficult that is creating the delay. If you said to yourself, I get everything instantly, and you start living from here, evidence will show up. And the more you celebrate that evidence, the more comfortable you get with that knowledge, the less resistant you are to having things happen instantly. I hope that helps. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Always remember, if something hurts you, it's okay to honor these feelings, accept them, because if you don't, if you avoid these feelings, they get stuck in our body, and this turns into illness. And you don't want it to be illness. You don't want it to be digestive issues. You don't want it to be a headache. You don't want it to be autoimmune issues. You don't want it to be allergies. All of these conditions only occur from the stuff we keep stuffed down inside because we didn't honor our emotions. So let them out and then come back and remember, okay, the opposite is also true. This can mean something else, and this will allow you to face your moment and then go beyond it. I hope that helps. Love you guys. See you soon.